Welcome to Roice-Hurst Humane Society's Canine Body Language Training. This training was developed by volunteer Carol Peter, whom we are incredibly grateful for. Successful productive interactions with shelter dogs depend on accurately assessing the dog's state of mind before, during, and after interacting. Just as with human interactions, communication between our species is the key to success. Dogs have a limited vocal repertoire, but a vast vocabulary of nonverbal body language communications. Consider all the body parts they can use to express their state of mind and intent. Any or all body parts make up a sum of the parts approach to correctly reading what the dog is intending to communicate. Sometimes, dogs seem to offer conflicting nonverbal messages when they are feeling uncertain or stressed in a given situation. For example, he could be wagging his tail, but his ears are pinned back and his face is tense. So where do you look? When it boils right down to it, you'll always want to be sure that the end of the dog that can bite is the one you know welcomes the interaction. As you learn more about a dog's nonverbal body language communications, you'll observe subtle differences that will be important in assessing the dog's state of mind. That wagging tail? Not always a sign of a happy dog. You'll learn to read the entire dog's body language and not rely on a single body part. Stressed dogs may indeed be sending mixed signals, and it is critical that we see the whole dog. So let's look at some pictures of dogs who are happy, relaxed, and who welcome interaction. What do you notice about these dogs? Where is their weight, forward, backward, or balanced? What is their ear position? What is their facial expression? What is their tail position? Where are these dogs looking? What is the shape of their eyes? What are they doing with their mouths? Do you think they welcome interaction? Here's what's important about everything you observed about those dogs. The tail is low and has an easy wag or wiggle butt. The body is loose and balanced, and the legs are bent when lying down. The ears are floppy and in a neutral position. The eyes are soft or squinty, looking right at you. The mouth is usually open and smiling, easy panting, or the tongue is hanging loose or out. Generally, you see relaxed, balanced dogs who are comfortable looking directly at you and inviting interaction. Keep these interpretations in mind as we look at photos of other dogs who aren't feeling so relaxed and happy. You'll still observe the same body parts, but you'll see such different expressions of emotion for the dogs. As a volunteer, you will not be exposed to any truly aggressive dogs. That said, shelters are very stressful environments, and dogs have been uprooted from what they knew and find themselves in this strange new world. It can cause a dog to act with aggressive behavior if they feel we are not understanding what they are trying to communicate with less aggressive body language cues. Our job then is to read the dog's lower-level stress and concern body language cues and respond appropriately so that the dog does not feel the need to be more forceful in expressing their discomfort. Let's take a look at several photos that show obvious signs of warnings from dogs. There are several body language cues these dogs are using to tell someone to back off. What is their ear position? Where are they looking? What is the shape of their eyes? What are they doing with their mouths? Look at the eye shape, mouth, ears, and overall body tension. These dogs are telling someone to back off, or the next step is likely a snap if you're lucky, or a bite. If you find a dog expressing any of these warning signs, take it seriously. Create distance from the dog and break direct eye contact. Of course, tell a staff member if you find yourself seeing any of these warning signs. These are the same body parts, but completely different expressions and interpretations from the dogs we saw earlier. Think back to what you saw in the happy and relaxed dogs versus how the dogs used those same body parts to convey a completely different message. Warning signs can look like a low and tucked tail, or a tail that is high and wagging stiffly like a flag. The body is very stiff and still, unless the dog is lunging, and the body is oriented directly toward you. The ears are usually forward unless the dog is very scared. The eyes are hard and staring at you, and the eyebrows are drawn together. The mouth has weapons on display and is sometimes in defensive posture. Again, think of the sum of the parts approach and see how the whole picture is more trustworthy than focusing just on a single body part or two. Most likely, you will see dogs that are conflicted in how they interact with people. They can go from seemingly inviting to suddenly realizing they are not comfortable with the situation. Again, our job is to see those signs of concern and discomfort and take the pressure off the dog. This helps them feel safer in our shelter environment and feel that they can trust those who come in contact with them. Simply said, we can set each dog up for success by learning to communicate on their terms and respecting what they're trying to tell us. Let's look at some photos. You know these poor dogs are afraid, right? You empathize instinctively. But what is it about their body language that helps you surmise the dog's fearful state? Look at their posture, where their body weight is oriented, their ears, and their face. Now look at these dogs and think about what each of the parts tells us about these dogs' discomfort. The tongue flick, sometimes called a nose washing, is common to all of these dogs. What else is? In particular, look at their eyes and ears. Of course, the Chihuahua is hunched up and its tail is nearly tucked. If you didn't know better, you might assume there's nothing unusual or noteworthy about these photos. However, you're seeing photos of dogs who are trying to disengage from whatever is in front of them. Calming signals are important communications between dogs and with us if we know what to look for. Looking away in a very deliberate fashion is the primary sign of disengagement. But what else do you see? How about the mouth, the ears, overall body tension, or tail position? Raising a front paw for many dogs is a sign of concern about a person or situation. We certainly see that in these dogs, but what else do we see? Again, look at the eyes, the mouth, the ears, as well as that body weight orientation and overall body tension. What do you see with these dogs? Whale eye, sometimes called half-moon eye, is a visible sign that the dog is on edge. With whale eye, the dog is concerned about what their eyes are oriented toward, but they're trying to disengage by turning their head slightly away. The result is that you can see some of the white of the dog's eye. By now, you might be able to recognize some other signs of tension in these dogs. The mouth is tightly closed, the ears are pinned back, and there's tight body tension. Ever wonder why a dog suddenly seems tired when they produce great big yawns in certain situations? No, they aren't sleepy. They're stressed. Yawns, as well as shake-offs, are ways the dogs release some of their own stress. Other dogs interpret those yawns as calming signals, like lookaways. If you see a dog yawning out of context, know the dog is stressed and trying to calm himself. To review, these on-edge dogs are using the same body parts, but in such a way as to convey that they really want you to give them some space. You might see that the tail is lower than usual for the breed. The body is still, drawn in or drawn back. The front paw is often raised. The head is turned away sideways, often sitting, laying down, or crouching. The ears are pulled back. The eyes are bigger, rounder. You can see the whites of their eyes or their brows are furrowed. The mouth is usually closed or yawning or licking. Always respect that by increasing distance, breaking eye contact, and standing sideways to the dog. Let the dog decide when he's willing to engage. You may also find dogs exhibiting other nonverbal signs of stress. Shedding more than usual, drooling, trembling, and other out-of-context behaviors are some of these signals. These signs are valuable in interpreting a dog's state of mind. These are signs of extreme stress. Do what you can to release the pressure on the dog. Learning to read canine body language will help you with your own dogs and dogs you meet in public without a doubt. However, you may see some signs of stress that can be unique to our shelter environment. In many ways, dogs exhibit a hyperactivity kind of behavior. This includes sniffing the ground or themselves excessively, height seeking, which is climbing up on things or people, licking themselves or other surfaces, inability to sit still or inability to listen to any learned cues, and heavy panting. When noticing these behaviors, all your interactions with these dogs should be intended to help the dog release stress. such as enrichment activities. If we do what dogs ask us to do when they're feeling under pressure and give them space, then we hope to avoid that tipping point between worried and fearful and the escalation to aggressive behavior. That tipping point looks much like the following photos. If we see these behaviors, we have blown past the dog's lower level warnings. This is what that tipping point looks like. De-escalation is needed immediately in the form of increasing distance by backing away slowly, keeping your hands still, breaking eye contact, and turning sideways to the dog. This stillness is the calm before the storm. The dog is giving the person or dog one last opportunity to disengage. The dog is not yet committed to using aggressive behavior. Some telltale signs of this are a still tail. The body goes from motion to complete stillness, and they may lower their head over a guarded item like a toy or a food. The ears are forward, the eyes are hard and focused on you, and the mouth is tightly closed. Of course, respect the dog's verbal warning, a growl, as part of his intended communication. Listen to your gut, and back away slowly. Dogs are very effective in communicating intense emotion. Alright, let's put your new insights into canine body language to work. We'll show you some photos. Take a moment to assess the dog's eyes, body language, and mouth to determine if we should pet that dog or not. Feel free to pause the video to assess the dog as long as you need. Now that you have an idea of how to read a dog's body language communication, you'll be more confident in interacting successfully with our shelter dogs. Be a great observer. Dogs are talking all the time if we just watch for what they're saying. Thank you to Roice-Hurst volunteer Carol Peter for developing this training.